first and foremost, guys, it's time to celebrate because one of the worst people in the fucking country, one of the most genocidal, Nazi-esque people in politics has officially died. Lindsey Graham, everybody. Lindsey Graham, like I said, queer icon. Lindsey Graham is officially dead at 71. Now, I woke up this morning to a tweet, like a notification from x.com from, I think, Dropside about this happening. And my first response, I think I commented on it, and said, yo, did Iran actually get one? Because I'm like, how did this happen, man? Like, how did he die? He was only 71. Like, I don't know if people know this, but like I mean, I don't mean to brag, but we can get those numbers up in our Senate, man. We got like 85-year-olds in there. Like 71, you're like a spring chicken when it comes to the United States Senate. So I was like, oh my gosh, did Iran take him out? Like, what happened? So hopefully we can get some more information on what actually happened. I'm not sure if it's actually come out yet. But we're also going to go over some reactions and stuff and see what everybody's thinking. But first, let's just listen to the breaking news and just maybe have a little bit of a party in our heads, a party together as we learn about the sad news that queer icon Lindsey Graham is dead. Here we go.
And good evening, I'm Richard Louie, and we come on the air with some breaking news this hour for you. The Republican senator from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, has died at the age of 71 years old. In a statement posted on X by his office, it says, on the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness. Senator Graham's family appreciates prayers at this time and asks for privacy during this incredibly difficult period. Again, that breaking news coming into a senator.
They're probably having a party. they probably all fucking hate him too.
Lindsey Graham, dead at the age of 71. Joining us now
Rest
is Michael
Bozo.
Snell, MS Now congressional reporter.
Bye-bye.
A shock to many as we are just getting in this news here to MS Now. And Michael, what do we know? And we know that it is early.
Yeah, Richard, I mean, absolutely shocking news this morning to hear that, as you mentioned, Senator Lindsey Graham, somebody who has been an institution of the United States Senate for so many years.
There's two options here, I think. It's either, like I said at the beginning, either Iran finally got one, which I don't know. I don't really think that Iran necessarily cares that much about assassinating our political leadership or whatever. Personally, because I think that they understand that doesn't really have any actual strategic significance when it comes to, geopolitical conflict. Or maybe Israel did it and it's going to try to blame Iran or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I also, like, hopefully they'll give us more information, like I said, because if they don't, I'm just going to keep speculating because, like, he didn't really seem like he was on the verge of death or anything. Maybe he had like a blood clot or something. I don't know, but unless they give me some more info, I'm just going to keep speculating here.
Years has passed away. He was 71 years old. He was first elected to the United States Senate back in 1990, back in 2003. Before that, serving in the South Carolina House of Representatives. As you mentioned, we don't have much information right now on just what happened. I reached out to his office this morning. They're telling me that they have nothing more to add beyond that statement that went out. We are starting to get some words of love and condolences in from some who are close to him. We've just heard from the governor. We've just heard from the Israel Minister of Defense saying they are deeply saddened by the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, a true friend of the state of Israel. And
yeah, because he worked for the state of Israel. That's their employee right there. They're going to have to train a whole new fucking senator. Israel's going to have to train a whole new senator for this position of being senator in chief for Israel.
One of its strongest and most steadfast supporters. So some of this information is starting to roll in. Again, as you mentioned, very early in the morning, but extremely, extremely sad news here. Sudden news, unexpected news that Senator Lindsey Graham has passed away.
Sad news? What What are they talking about, man? What? Sad?
When you
Who the fuck is sad, man? I'm serious. Like, who the fuck is sad? Anyway, like, he's the fucking worst. He's the worst. Even the MAGA people don't really like Lindsey Graham because he's so fucking Israel like focused on like everything. Like, or I guess like the America First wing or whatever. Like all he ever talks about is Israel all the time. All he ever does is like, you know, try to lend his support to the genocide in Palestine. Like that's literally all he has done, like in the past like 2 years. Like I can't even think of anything else that I've seen him on TV doing other than posturing for war with Iran or like trying to justify the genocide in Palestine. Those are like the only two things I've seen him do in the past 3 years. So like I said at the beginning, rest in piss, Bozo. We don't have to pretend to be sad when demons die. Like when fucking Satan himself dies, like, oh, I'm supposed to cry about it. Come on, man. You know, like, I don't know. I think that's ridiculous. Like, yeah, people are gonna like when Nazis die, people are going to like celebrate. That's just the way it goes. If you don't want people to celebrate when you die, then don't be a fucking Nazi. If you don't want the general populace at large to celebrate when you die, then don't be a fucking Nazi. That's my personal opinion. But anyway, let's see what Senator McCaskill says on Lindsey Graham's death. Apparently, she says he was very committed to the United States. There's one state in particular, the most united state, the state of Israel is his primary focus, I think. But let's go ahead and see what she has to say about this.
think of this shocking news at the moment, Senator McCaskill. You knew him so well, certainly a very well-known name, regardless of whether you supported him or you did not.
Yeah, obviously this is shocking. Obviously, when I think of Lindsey, I think of somebody who had every intention of staying in the Senate for his entire life. And, you know, Lindsey...
I just read a comment. Mission accomplished, then, is what that comment says.
By Senate standards, sometimes was not one of the most elderly of the Senate. So it is shocking.
Isn't this great, man? Don't we live in a great country where 71, like I said, is a spring chicken in the Senate? This is hilarious. Like they're talking about him like he's like fresh out of college. Like he's such a young 71-year-old senator.
I think what I think is important to remember is how steadfast Lindsey was about the United States military. I mean, he was a former JAG officer, and if you ever watched Lindsey question witnesses, you could tell he'd been in a courtroom. He knew how to get the answers that sometimes witnesses did not want to give in front of the United States Senate, particularly on the Armed Services Committee. We served together on that committee for 12 years, and he was a very, very committed to the United States and our allies. He felt very strongly about supporting Ukraine, very strongly about supporting Israel, very strongly about continuing to make the military as mighty as possible.
How's that working out, by the way? How's that working out, Lindsey? As Iran like fucking demolishes us over in the Middle East, how's that working out? Where the American military and has been exposed to the entire world as a paper tiger that can't even protect can't even protect its allies, can't even open up the Strait of Hormuz. Like it can't even do that. Trillions of dollars, and it can't even do that. Like the American military, like military supremacy or whatever, is like at its weakest point that it has ever been, and it's honestly very much thanks to all of these neocons who systematically hollowed it out in order to facilitate super ultra mega profits for their fellow Epstein associates, right? Like and then also continuously over and over and over and over again getting us into unnecessary, fruitless, conflicts in the Middle East and everywhere else over and over and over again. You've brought the military to the weakest point that it has ever been in its entire life. Thank you, Senator Lindsey Graham. It's the same with like Donald Trump too. Like they always like talk like they are like the like they care so much about the military, or they like about its military supremacy or whatever. But in the end, because they're so like incompetent, they end up doing more damage to it than even like the most radical anti-imperialist communists could ever possibly do. Like nobody could possibly do as much damage to our military as people like Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump, because they're fucking idiots, and they overestimate the American military mind all the time. And like I said, they just constantly they allow the military to just be hollowed out as like a shell organization for funneling money to pedo billionaires at the top of our society. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It's very ironic, you could say.
And yeah, we can find things about Lindsey that are hard to explain. And I watched Lindsey go from somebody who hung out with Joe Lieberman and John McCain, and John McCain kind of was the leader of that pack, and Lindsey was a enthusiastic member of that close friendship. And I think John McCain obviously had problems with Donald Trump. But then once we lost John McCain, Lindsey gravitated towards Donald Trump and became a close golf buddy of the president. And it was hard sometimes. It was a head scratcher to see some of the positions that Lindsey took, knowing him as I did when I served with him in the Senate. All that aside, this is a tragedy. It's a tragedy for all of his many friends and staff. And say what you will about Lindsey Graham, that he believes in public service, and for that, he should.
You better believe I will. say what you will. Oh, I will.
Be celebrated.
Oh, was that last thing she said?
And say what you will about Lindsey Graham, that he believes in public service, and for that, he should in fact be celebrated.
No, he shouldn't. Shut up.
Senator McCaskill, when we look at his travel schedule, we're just showing some video. He just came
This is on MS Now, by the way. This is on MS Now. This is literally on MS Now. The fucking dude. This is why the Democrats fucking lose. This is why they lose. Look at how they're covering Lindsey Graham right now. This is insane. Now, I want to be clear. The MS Now, the political establishment, the corporate Democrats and stuff, they are all going to try and do all of this like mealy mouth shit about Lindsey Graham, one of the worst people like in the Senate, one of the like the biggest warmongers, one of the most genocidal fucking freaks, one of the biggest Nazis in our fucking like elected officials. Like they're going to try to like rehabilitate him, just like they tried to rehabilitate George Bush. There's never been a conservative that has died or like lost power or whatever that they haven't tried to fucking rehabilitate. But I want you to look, I think this is kind of interesting though. Let's look through the comments real quick. Like this person says he had every intention of staying in the Senate his entire life. Mission accomplished. Let's see what some of those responses are. Laughing faces. Putin killed Lindsey because the meeting was about sanctions on Putin. Both Dems and Repubs were about to negotiate the bill. Then Lindsey is dead on the way back. That's an interesting one. I didn't think about Putin. I'm going to be honest though. I would much more likely assume it was Iran or Israel personally, but well, he was right about that. Bingo, he did. Side eye. They say these things happens in threes. Fingers crossed. You know, like the world is a safer place. He was a warmonger. I can just see Lindsey now looking up at us. Oh, what a day. What a lovely day. First Mitch, though unconfirmed, now Lindsey. They say these things happen in threes. I'm now just waiting on the big, beautiful obituary. Grinder corporate at half-mast today. Finally, some good news in America. He should have been committed a long time ago. Karma, dude, karma. No, he was not committed to the United States. He was dedicated to an ideology which included violence and pure evil. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how the difference between how the Democrat establishment at MS Now is covering this compared to their fucking comments? The people, you don't understand how like angry the average liberal is at like well, at the Republicans, obviously, but also at the Democrat establishment because of this exact dichotomy that we're witnessing right here, where they are trying to rehabilitate this evil individual, and the people are out for fucking blood. They want more. They want punishment. They want suffering. They're like, they want actual punishment and suffering for their political opponents. And I don't know. I just think that that's very, very interesting. Like an interesting thing to witness right here. But anyway, I'll keep going now. I just thought that was just interesting.
Back from Ukraine, and he arrived just within the last 24 hours. NBC News was reporting that he was then to go on to meet the press. What was the schedule he kept? What was the pace that he typically did have? Was it always packed as most elected officials, senators like yourself, keep at all times? Was it that sort of schedule?
Yeah, he was a very hard worker. But I will say that probably more so than many senators, he focused most of his overseas travel around our military engagement, whether it was going to a security conference.
You'll notice they're also putting a lot of photos of him with like Vladimir Zelensky, or that's his name, right? Zelensky, and like in Ukraine and stuff, as opposed to him like signing missiles for like to be lobbed onto the children of Gaza or whatever. Like, this is what I'm saying. They're trying to rehabilitate him, man. They're trying.
in Europe, or whether it was going into Afghanistan or Iraq, can't count how many times he made trips into those troubled zones when we had military on the ground there.
See, this is Ukraine. You can see the Ukraine flag over there.
Various countries in the Middle East has been, I think, a constant supporter of the Ukraine military, and I think should get some credit. You noticed that Trump.
Oh my God! You don't have to give him fucking
Ukraine
credit.
At this last NATO meeting that he attended, and Lindsey gets some credit for that. I'm sure Lindsey has been constantly urging the president to support Ukraine and to stop being so kind to Putin. That was the voice, I think, that
liberals, man. I swear to God.
And obviously, I think that
I can't even say it's liberals at this point, because like I said, these people that are like leaving comments on MS Now, they are average liberals. Like, it's more just like fucking like corporate Democrats and their like the Democratic power base and their constant need to try to rehabilitate conservatives. It's like, I just don't understand where they think this goes, man. There's like, you can't keep facilitating this. You can't keep facilitating the excesses and the extremes of like right-wing ideology forever, and like think that like the average person is going to be okay with that. The average person hates these people. Like, the average person fucking hates these people's guts. And you're still out here trying to rehabilitate them. Like, back in the day, back when like they tried to rehabilitate George W. Bush and stuff, it honestly kind of worked, okay? But that was because we didn't live in this current era that we're living through, where like people understand the stakes of what's happening. People understand what MAGA is trying to do, that they are a fascist movement. And so like this sort of stuff, I think, is just really like tone deaf, that they're like how they're covering this right now, and how this senator or former Senator McCaskill is, yeah, she's not currently in the Senate, right? Claire McCaskill, I don't think so. It says in the description, former Senator Claire McCaskill, but like this sort of like, this is just so antiquated, and I don't really know who this type of like attempted rehabilitation is for at this point.
He was in Ukraine trying to drive whatever he could in terms of the decisions that have been made lately by the White House to be more supportive of Ukraine.
Yeah, as we watch more of the video and pictures from, again, Senator Lindsey Graham, as he was just returning from Ukraine after a diplomatic trip there. And as we look at this, Senator McCaskill, that trip is about 20 hours one way. He just arrived back from Ukraine. You can see certainly that he was meeting with many individuals, just based on the pictures that we're seeing right now. And in the reporting over the years, he never had necessarily difficulties medically, at least that were reported throughout the years. And so one might think, and again, you know him better, that he was fairly strong when it comes to Constitution, given his schedule, because there's no reported, if you will, major difficulties medically for him.
No, I have no recollection of Lindsey being anything but fully present for everything. In fact, sometimes too much so. Yeah, his travel schedule was.
By the way, Senator Claire McCaskill was a Democrat, in case you're curious. I guess I never mentioned that, but.
Was brutal, and because of his commitment to the military. And I think also, recently he has been doing a lot of shuttle diplomacy around the situation with Israel. I mean, he was one of the most strong supporters of what Trump did in Iran. And I think a lot of that was because of his relationship with Israel. And it doesn't surprise me that the Israeli Minister of Defense is already out with a strong statement of grief and sympathy. I think.
Okay, let's go ahead and see, I guess, since they were talking about it, let's go ahead and see what some of the responses from Israel have been. So let's go over here. We'll do these ones first. 1 second. Okay. So, in case anybody was curious of who, because okay, I want to start with this. Israel does not give two shits about America. Okay, I want to be absolutely clear. Israel does not give two shits about America whatsoever. They only care about what America can do for them. So when people like Benjamin Netanyahu here and Ben Gvir, when they come out and talk about like how good of a senator Lindsey Graham is, right? How amazing he is and stuff. Trust me. They do not mean that in any way that he is good for America. They mean that he is good for Israel. And also, oftentimes, those two things are in conflict a lot nowadays. What's good for Israel is bad for America, generally speaking, or at least for the American working class. So let's go ahead and read these statements from some of the worst people in the fucking world. The man responsible for the genocide of the Palestinians, the ongoing genocide of the Palestinians, and the current ongoing genocide of the Lebanese population in southern Lebanon. He says, Benjamin Netanyahu says, Sarah and I grieve with the American people over the loss of our dear friend, Senator Lindsey Graham. In our recent meeting, I said, Lindsey is a great friend of Israel and a cherished friend of mine. We have no better friend than Lindsey. Yeah. Do you hear that? America First people out there. Do you fucking hear that? Do you hear that? What do you think that means? Lindsey understood that the security of Israel and America are inseparable. He devoted his life to defending America, strengthening our alliances, and standing up for the free world. Israel has lost one of its greatest friends. America has lost a great patriot. I have lost a beloved friend. Our hearts are with Lindsey's family and with the American people at this difficult time. May his values and initiatives continue to guide us toward victory and peace, and may his memory forever be a blessing. Lindsey Graham is dead. I don't know if that's AI or not, but that's hilarious. That's why he's in hell now. It's so funny, man. Everybody's just dogging on him. But yeah, anyway, okay, so that's what Benjamin Netanyahu said. Netanyahu himself. And then we got Ben Gvir, Itamar Ben Gvir. He's one of the most evil people in Israel right now. Today, Israel has lost one of its greatest friends. Senator Lindsey Graham stood with Israel not because it was easy, but because he believed it was right. His unwavering support, courage, and moral clarity earned him the admiration of millions of Israelis. The state of Israel will always remember his friendship, his unwavering support, and his steadfast commitment to Israel's security. Heartfelt condolences to his family and the American people. May his memory be a blessing. Yeah, so the worst people in the fucking world. He is a genocidal maniac, just like you. Good riddance. Funeral food be so good. Only the people who are sad are Israelis. Yeah. Okay. At least everybody gets it, man. And I honestly think that this kind of shit might backfire for the exact reason I just said. everybody, I think, or most people understand that Israel does not give a shit about America whatsoever. So when Israel says shit like this, people just interpret it as, oh, well, then Lindsey Graham must have been only doing the shit that Israel wanted, not stuff that would be good for me and my, my people, my American citizens. So, so I think that this sort of stuff backfires a lot. But so that's how Israel is responding. But let's go ahead and see how I think it's Iranian state media is responding. I'm just gonna let it play and then I'll read it.
عرض کنم به درک واصل شدن لیندسی گراهام، سناتور جنگ طلب و ضد ایرانی آمریکا رو به ملت بزرگ ایران شاد باش عرض میکنم. با ادامه برنامه ها از شبکه خبر همراه باشید.
There you go. And to translate, I congratulate the Iranian nation on warmongering anti-Iran U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham being sent to hell. This is how you should cover it, people. This is how the media, I know you're not allowed to be this, this brutal or whatever in American media, but at the very least you need to be objective about how terrible of a human being Lindsey Graham is. A person who joys, he delights, he comes his pants whenever a Palestinian baby is blown to smithereens. Like you need to just acknowledge that he is a terrible person, and the world will be a better place without him here. Let's see what other people say. This is just people complaining about the translation. I don't really care about that. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and read a quick article just so everybody can remember, because I've been dunking a lot on this loser, this like in the closet Disney World going solo Disney trip enjoyer Lindsey Graham. I've been dunking on him a lot for being a genocidal freak, but maybe I'm wrong, right? What do, like, I don't know, maybe you haven't been keeping up. So let's go ahead and read this this article by the Palestine Chronicle. Lindsey Graham dies at 71, a timeline of the Hawks' genocidal rhetoric on Gaza. Let's go ahead and read some of his his most infamous quotes, and then I'll let you be the judge if we should all enjoy a little schadenfreude or not at the death of one of the most evil people in fucking power in this country. So by Romano Rubio. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham died at 71, ending a decades-long political career defined by hawkish foreign policy and staunch support for Israel. Key developments. Senator Lindsey Graham died Saturday following what his office described as a brief and sudden illness. Graham was one of Congress's strongest advocates of U.S. military support for Israel and a leading proponent of military action against Iran. Israeli leaders paid tribute to Graham, praising his decades-long political and diplomatic support for the occupation. Republican senator dies after brief illness. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Well, I'm just going to skip to the genocidal statements, I think. Let's read this part, actually. A leading congressional supporter of Israel. Throughout his Senate career, Graham was among the strongest advocates of U.S. military, diplomatic, and political support for Israel. Following the start of Israel's genocidal war on the Gaza Strip in October 2023, he consistently opposed calls for a ceasefire and rejected proposals to condition or restrict U.S. military assistance. He repeatedly argued that Israel was engaged in an existential war and maintained that Washington should continue providing military support without conditions, opposing congressional efforts to tie aid to compliance with international law or the protection of Palestinian civilians. Wow. Graham frequently visited Israel, meeting successive prime ministers, senior military officials, and cabinet ministers while emphasizing the importance of maintaining Israel's military superiority in the region. I already read the Israeli officials, but I didn't read this one. War Minister Israel Katz called him a true friend of the state of Israel and one of his strongest and most steadfast supporters, while National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett also praised his longstanding support for Israel. I already went over some of those. Okay, A timeline of genocidal statements. Graham's outspoken defense of Israel's military campaign in Gaza repeatedly generated international criticism. Among his most controversial remarks were repeated comparisons between Israel's bombardment of Gaza and the Allied bombing campaigns against Germany and Japan during the Second World War. You got it a little bit inverted, but okay. Well, because like we all know, right? We all know Israel are the modern day Nazis. While defending continued U.S. weapons transfers, Graham argued that the United States had ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and declared that Israel should do whatever you have to do to secure victory. Wants to look. People don't like, I don't even know how, like, I assume everybody understands this. Palestine, like Gaza, is an open air prison. Nothing goes in or out of it without Israel's say so. It is people who are completely controlled and dominated by their occupier, by Israel. They have no sovereignty whatsoever. They can't do anything without Israel's go ahead. And so like so it is, I mean, look, I like, people have made the comparisons. It is just a fucking concentration camp. It's just a huge concentration camp that they have concentrated all of these Palestinians in. And the way that they gas them is they just bomb them every like 5 years or so. Okay. And this idea of like nuking them or something is fucking insane. It's crazy. That's fucking crazy. It's a tiny ass territory that, like, my God, this is like just unhinged. And like at the very least, they're never going to nuke Gaza because that would just be, you know, infinite radiation poisoning for Israel. So I don't think they're going to do that. But still, it's fucking like it's so genocidal, man. Below are some of the statements made by Graham since October 2023 that have drawn widespread condemnation and accusations of it advocating genocide in Gaza. Leave the place, October 2023, in an interview on Fox News shortly after October 7th. We are in a religious war here. I am with Israel. Do whatever the hell you have to do to defend yourself. Or, sorry, level the place. I misread that. Level the place. Yeah. So there's a genocidal remark. Also, by the way, you know, he would be thrown in, like in a just world, he'd be thrown in the Hague, right? This, along with the actual actions of Israel, is genocidal intent. So he would be thrown in the Hague, or like he should be, like under, like I said, in a just world. But I guess, you know, also in a just world, he could just, you know, die. So maybe it is a just world. Who knows? Maybe this is, we're on the right track now. There is no limit on civilian casualties. Speaking to CNN, when asked if there was a threshold or limit on civilian casualties where the U.S. should tell Israel to hold off, Graham responded, no. If somebody asked us after World War II, is there a limit? What would you do to make sure that Japan and Germany don't conquer the world? Is there any limit what Israel should do to the people who are trying to slaughter the Jews? The answer is no. There is no limit. This is just such a fucking inversion, man. It's such an inversion of like power dynamics and shit. It's insane. Yeah, that's also genocidal intent. Gaza looking like Tokyo and Berlin. During the same period, Graham told Fox News that Gaza is going to look like Tokyo and Berlin at the end of World War II when this is over. And if it doesn't look that way, Israel made a mistake. Well, guess what? You got your fucking wish. You got your fucking wish, Lindsey Graham, because it does look like that. God damn it, dude. Fucking unhinged. The nuclear threat. May 2024. In an interview on NBC News Meet the Press, Graham defended Israel's right to use absolute force by citing America's atomic bombings of Japan. When we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state, whatever you have to do. Fucking Jesus Christ, man. By the way, I don't know, a lot of people aren't very knowledgeable about this whole situation. The war was already over by the time America decided to use nuclear bombs. I mean, not like officially over, but I mean, it was basically over. It was just a completely unnecessary war crime that in no way would have actually changed anything whatsoever. It was just something that we did in order to kill as many civilians as possible, just because we could. It did not change the trajectory whatsoever. It was completely unnecessary. But anyway, yeah, like I said at the beginning, though, or like earlier, Israel's never going to nuke Gaza or anything, because that, like I said, it's just infinite radiation poisoning for Israel. But my God, it's so unhinged. Advocate of military confrontation with Iran. Beyond his support for Israel, Graham was widely regarded as one of Washington's most hawkish policymakers on Iran, especially, well, that's just because of his support for Israel. Like, let's be real. Iran is in no way an actual threat to America, so the only reason to be supportive of going to war with Iran is on behalf of the nation state of Israel. So for years, he urged successive U.S. administrations to adopt a more confrontational posture towards Tehran, advocating harsher sanctions, direct military action against Iranian nuclear facilities, and expanded operations against the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Well, guess what? You got your wish, and it's not turning out exactly how you thought, is it, Lindsey Graham? I'm sure you're looking up at hell, or looking up from hell right now, being like, I can't wait, man. Let's see. I can't wait for the end of this war to see what actually comes out of it. Because like, I have a feeling it's going to look pretty bad for America. I mean, it already does, to be honest. Like, we've already completely destroyed our global, like, military hegemony or whatever, just because of how ineffective we were at trying to open the Strait of Hormuz, and how we were unable to protect any of our allies during this conflict. As tensions between the U.S. and Israel and Iran escalated, Graham repeatedly called for direct American military involvement, arguing that diplomacy should give way to force if Iran's nuclear program continued. His rhetoric extended beyond Iran. He supported the 2003 invasion of Iraq, defended prolonged U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan, and backed intervention in Libya and Syria, making military power a defining feature of his foreign policy outlook. There you go, people. Some of the worst fucking statements, man. Some of the worst of the worst. And so, look, it might be uncouth. It might be, some people might call it inappropriate. But I think that I represent the vast majority of, at the very least, of Democrats or liberals. But I think even some, like America Firsters or whatever, and saying, good fucking riddance. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Rotten hell. Rest in piss, bozo. Fucking loser ass, in the closet, homosexual, like Disney World, like going to Disney World by himself, has no friends, has no life. Yeah, rest in piss, bozo. Go enjoy your stay in hell. I'm sure you will. I'm sure that you are going to love it. Here's the picture of him at Disney World again. This is actually, let's do this first, and then we'll end on the picture. Okay, let's just watch. Jackson Hinkle posted this picture. Describe Lindsey Graham with one word. Let's see what people are saying. Dead. Ding dong, the evil cuck is dead. This was one of the architects of brutality. Humanity is better off without him. That is not one word. I'm sorry. Lucky Chair 20. This is the one that I would have thought too. This meme is perfect. Gay. Hot. What? Oh, because he's in hell. I get it. Psycho. And then some, some of those statements that I just read already. Miga, make Israel great again. I guess it's Miga. I don't know. I'm always a little uncomfortable saying MIGA, because I'm like, that sounds a little too close to another word that I'm not allowed to say. So, anyway, it's not one word, but, yeah, the war fairy, still not one word, but okay. Well, there we go. That's what they're thinking. And yeah, like I was showing before, let's end this, because I think that this is what's happening right now, for Lindsey. I think that what happened, after he died, is he went up to the gates of heaven, and this was what it looked like. It was in the form of Disney World, and he had his little toy, and he had his like lollipop, and he was going up there, and on the other side of the gate were just a whole bunch of like jacked shirtless dudes. And he got to the gate, and he was like, yo, is it Paul? Is it St. Paul or whatever? I can't remember. He's like, yo, Paul, oh, that looks amazing in there. It looks just like Disney World, except there's hot shirtless dudes. Can you please let me in? And then he was like, the fuck you talking about? You genocidal monster? And they pulled the lever, and then he fell down into hell, where there's probably still a lot of buff shirtless dudes, but they're all, you know, they're all spitting in his face, which maybe he likes. So I don't know where that was going. You know, when you're streaming, it's just like you're just doing stream of consciousness, so it is what it is. Anyway, that's the Lindsey Graham segment. What'd you guys think? Did you enjoy it?